Welcome to the first class of, well, it's the second class actually, but this will be the first lecture of the semester in the course of International Accounting Project. So as I said on the first class, we are going to have this course in English because everything is in English, like the readings and the final paper that you need to submit, and even the publication is going to be in English. That's why we had to change the language into English entirely. Of course, if you have like a specific question about something, maybe you have problems when you want to translate that into English. It's okay if you ask me in Spanish. It's not a big deal. But try to keep everything in English. It's also better because then we can keep track of using the same terms and concepts, and then we don't mess up with translating from Spanish to English or English to Spanish. So today we're going to start in this discussion about research methods and methodology. And I'm going to divide the lecture in different short videos. So I think it's better to watch short videos that are specific about a topic and then jump to the next one. So this very first video is about what is a method and what is a methodology. So maybe the first question that comes into your mind is, what is the difference between a method and a methodology? So the methodology is the strategy that a researcher uses to answer to a research question. By the strategy, it means how do you approach to the research. And basically, there are three types of methodologies, or maybe only two. One is qualitative, that is more subjective. Qualitative means that it depends on stories or case studies, like you care uh, about the context of what's happening in the phenomenon that you're studying. That is qualitative. Qualitative studies and the qualitative methodology, it's rich in data. It has uh, a, a lot of data from different perspectives. It has a lot of details because details matter in qualitative methodology, right? So qualitative is usually associated with 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 being subjective, so that's one side of the equation. The other side, or the other alternative, is quantitative methodologies. Quantitative methodology, it's an strategy in where you gather numerical data, mostly numerical data. It's called hard data. It's like, for instance, if you analyze stock prices and interest rates and volume of transactions in the market, that will be quantitative methodology because you focus on numbers, on hard data, and you don't go that deep into maybe an interview and ask someone, why did you buy this stock? You don't care that much about that. You care more about the numbers. How many people traded this stock and how much did they pay? Because you care about the numbers. So these are the two types, the two main methodologies, qualitative and quantitative. And then we have mixed methodologies. It is possible to mix both. And yes, and we are going to see how we can mix both. As you can see, as qualitative is more subjective, qualitative works well with social science. So for like in accounting is a social science. It's a science of people, it's not a science of nature. So usually qualitative is a good idea if you're studying psychology, sociology, accounting at some point, different things that are social. So, and then on the other hand, quantitative is mostly for hard sciences like math, physics, chemistry, things like that, biology. Because in math, numbers are numbers, right? Doesn't matter that much the context or the opinion or whatever. It's very objective. And in social science, it's more subjective. However, sometimes, even in social science, it is possible to be quantitative. Like if you are going to analyze, I don't know, um, an industry, maybe you don't care about details and you don't care about subjective things. You only care about objective things. Like maybe you want to find out if a change in the government brings more investment or not, something like that. That is very specific and objective. Then you can use quantitative methodology. Uh, so if that is the methodology, what are the research methods? Because that's the other part of the question. Well, research methods are like protocols, like a guideline, step by step, what should you be doing to fulfill two objectives. First, to acquire, and second, to analyze data. So research methods are a tool that researchers use to acquire and then to analyze data. And there has to be a link, and of course it's totally coherent between methodology and methods, because depending on the methodology, then you have different methods. For instance, in the quantitative methodology, we have survey analysis, lab experiments, we have a statistical analysis, things that are very objective. We usually say that quantitative is like the scientific method. Do you remember that from maybe high school? The scientific method, it says that you try something and then you prove that it works, and then you repeat that experiment all over again with the same result. That is exactly what the quantitative methodology and the quantitative research methods intend to obtain. Survey analysis, lab experiments, statistical analysis try to do that. On the other hand, qualitative methods are different, because qualitative methods don't try to generalize statistically. They don't say, if I start a business 100 times and then I do this, I will always get the same result. No, the qualitative methodologies say, or ask this question: if I do this business under this context, what will happen and how will that happen? So we say that qualitative is not like the scientific method when you throw a ball and it's like what Newton did with the gravity. Like he found out that gravity was the same for an apple or for a pillow or for, I don't know, something else. And in qualitative, it's not like that. In qualitative, it's more about, it's more subjective. It's about relationships. It's about details. It's about all of that. And examples of research methods for qualitative methodologies are, of course, the case study. Maybe the case study is the most used method in qualitative research. So case studies is like you analyze a study or you analyze something that it's very interesting to analyze, and if and that such analysis can bring or provide new knowledge. So imagine that you want to study if I don't know, if you change what pigs eat, or a chicken, if you no pig, I think it's better. If you change what pigs eat, maybe they can grow larger. So if you try to analyze something as objective as that, then maybe it is a good idea to do a quantitative study, because you will try to do a lab experiment with 100 pigs, and then 50 pigs do something, 50 other pigs do another thing, and then you measure how much they weigh and everything, and you measure what do they eat, and then that will be very quantitative, very objective. But if you find one pig that can fly, only one pig, then what you can do is to do a case study about that pig and follow the story of that pig, of how that pig was able to fly, how he developed the ability to fly. So uh, qualitative is usually focused on interesting cases. It can be one case or it can be a comparative case. We're going to talk about that in a second. And quantitative is usually with larger data sets. So I think this will be in the next video.